Yes, sir.
It's not a bashful group, so again, throw out suggestions, comments, ideas. If you heard Dr. Kroll, even not just today, but ideas in terms of beyond just this group, other people that folks should be talking to. So let's see first.
I was fortunate enough to talk to you when you were up here a couple of weeks ago, and one thing that kind of stood out in my mind is you said it's almost impossible to count deer, and I think that since a lot of this management depends on having some kind of idea of how many deer are out there to begin with, and you build up from there, do you have a possible solution for improvements to how we actually count deer?
The counting of deer, an estimation of how many deer there are, is the La Brea tar pits of deer management. It can't be done. I have found in my career, and my colleagues would go along with this, that it is far better to spend your time letting the deer and the habitat tell you how they're doing. You know, collecting the right information about how the deer are doing and how the habitat is doing is a place where you need to spend a lot of effort. There's a lot of effort on population numbers, but the first question is what I ask private landowners I work with, is how many deer do you want to harvest? And what kind? Now, often that number is, you go, oh my gosh, that's not possible. But once you settle on that, given the change in demographics that we're seeing and everything else, then you come up with a management plan that works backwards from that. Is how do you go about doing it?
Thank you.
It sounds like you are considering separate management styles for public land versus private land. Have you thought about that already?
We've thought a lot about it.
It's about 83%.
I think that without giving the appearance of having prejudged anything, that's a given, is that public lands have to be managed differently than private lands. That said, well, you got a public land right here, and you got a private piece of property right here, they're affecting each other. So there has to be a system where you appreciate those two things. And public land has to be a place where quality experiences can be had. My first experience in Wisconsin was 30 years ago, near Stevens Point. And I got up on a high place, and it looked like an army of orange-clad ants were on the landscape. And it made an impression in me, I guarantee you. And what we find is that, yes, hunters are, they make a decision about whether they had a good experience by the number of deer they see, but they also have decided by the number of people they don't see. So I think that deer management is a spectrum that goes from public land all the way to intensively managed private land. And there's something for everybody in that spectrum. There are people who have no land, never will have any land, that deserve to have access to quality hunting experiences. They're also going to have to understand that there's a price for that. You know, maybe regulating density of people at certain times or whatever. But there are different challenges on each part of that spectrum, and there's a place for everybody to drop out. One of the things that worries me the most about the future of deer hunting is it has become a class warfare, elitist issue. The bow hunters hate the rifle hunters. The rifle hunters hate the crossbow hunters. You know, I'm making it simple here, but people are not getting along. You know, and we're all in this together. The hunters of this country sold out the trappers long ago, and we needed them. They're some of the best hunters there were, and now we're regretting it. So we've hung them out to dry. We need to quit fighting among ourselves and start working among ourselves. You know, if it's legal and you hunt deer with a claw hammer, I don't care. You know, I don't care as long as it's legal. That there's something for everybody. Years ago, I got dressed down, and it made an impression on me. I was in Ohio, and I was a lot younger and more full of vinegar, and pretty proud of myself. And I made the comment that I wish you hunters would get out of those boxes and quit baiting deer and go to hunting deer like they're supposed to be hunting. Afterwards, an 83-year-old man came up to me and he said, I understand where you're coming from, but I have 2 bad knees and a bad heart. That's the only way I can hunt. Now, we don't throw him out? I don't think so.